Welcome to Bit Talks, where we take a deep dive from an AI's point of view. I'm Axel Bolt here with Gigabits. We're breaking down today's hot topics one bite at a time.
And you've sent us a fascinating one. You want to know at IS the best room temperature.
Right. We all have that one spot on the thermostat we gravitate towards. But is there a science to it, or are we just creatures of habit? It turns out 4 different AIs, Claude, Gemini, Pi, and ChatGPT-4, have a lot to say about it.
And they approach it from some really interesting angles, historical, cultural, even touching on those office temperature wars we've all experienced.
Exactly. Claude kicks things off with a history lesson, reminding us that humans have been tinkering with indoor temperature for ages. Think ancient Romans with their hypocausts. Basically underfloor heating systems that would make even a modern homeowner jealous.
It's incredible how resourceful they were. Pi even dug up a connection to Lord Kelvin, the guy behind the absolute temperature scale. So this quest for a comfortable indoor environment has been going on for centuries.
Centuries, absolutely. And then Gemini jumps in with the invention of air conditioning in the early 20th century, which is a total game changer. Suddenly, we had this new level of control over indoor climate, leading to the rise of thermostats and the whole HVAC industry.
It's like going from horse-drawn carriages to self-driving cars in terms of temperature control. But with all this technology, it begs the question, what does science actually consider ideal?
Well, according to Claude, the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers, ASHRE for short, suggests a range of 68 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit feels comfortable for most people.
That's a pretty wide range, though. And ChatGPT-4 chimes in to remind us that individual preferences play a huge role. Things like age, gender, metabolism, even what you're wearing all influence how warm or cool you feel.
It makes sense when you think about it. Like someone coming in from a snowy day might feel perfectly cozy at 68 degrees, while someone else who's been working out might be sweltering.
Precisely. And it gets even more interesting when we consider cultural differences. Imagine this. You step into a Japanese office set at a comfortable 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Then hop over to a European building where it's a cooler 68 to 70 degrees. Talk about a temperature shock.
It's like that scene in Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Everyone has their own just right temperature and varies wildly. Claude and Pi both highlight how these cultural norms reflect how our environment shapes our expectations and what comfortable truly means.
It makes you wonder, is there a right temperature at all? Or is it all relative?
It's like arguing over whether pizza is better with pineapple. Some people love it, others hate it. And both sides have valid points.
And just like with pizza toppings, there's a lot more to this temperature debate than meets the eye. We've got the energy factor, the future of climate control, even the impact on our health and productivity, all tangled up in this seemingly simple question.
Okay, so let's unpack those one by one. ChatGPT-4 brings up a really important point about energy consumption. Cranking up the AC or heater gobbles up energy, and that has a direct impact on our carbon footprint. The U.S. Department of Energy even recommends 68 degrees Fahrenheit in winter and 78 degrees in summer for optimal energy savings.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? We want to be comfortable, but we also need to be mindful of our environmental impact. This is where innovation comes in. Gemini paints a fascinating picture of the future of climate control, with AI-powered thermostats that learn your preferences and adjust accordingly.
So picture this. You walk into your home and the temperature subtly shifts to your perfect comfort zone. No more fiddling with the thermostat or arguing with your family about who's too hot or too cold.
It's like having your own personal climate concierge. And Pi takes it a step further, talking about personalized temperature control zones within a building. Imagine different areas of your home or office set to different temperatures, catering to individual needs.
That would certainly put an end to those office temperature wars, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No more passive-aggressive thermostat adjustments or people bundled up in sweaters while others are fanning themselves.
It's a win-win, right? Comfort and energy efficiency. But as with any new technology, there are questions to consider. How do we ensure these AI systems are fair and equitable? What about privacy concerns? These are all things we need to address as this technology evolves.
Absolutely. It's like with any powerful tool. It's all about using it responsibly. But even with all these futuristic solutions, there's still a lot we don't know about the science of thermal comfort. Several of the AIs, including Claude, pointed out the need for a deeper understanding of individual variations.
We've touched on factors like age, gender, and metabolism, but what about genetics? Could our genes influence our temperature preferences? And how do things like stress, mood, and even the time of day affect our perception of comfort?
It's like trying to solve a complex puzzle. Each piece, our biology, our environment, our psychology, all interact to create our unique thermal comfort zone. And speaking of puzzles, one AI even brought up the impact of room temperature on productivity.
It's something we've all experienced, right? That feeling of being sluggish and unproductive when it's too hot or too cold. But what are the optimal temperatures for different types of work? Could adjusting the thermostat actually lead to increased focus and better performance?
It makes you wonder if there's a sweet spot where we're not just comfortable,
Hmm.
but also firing on all cylinders mentally.
It's an intriguing area of research, and it highlights the interconnectedness of our physical environment and our cognitive abilities.
It's like that saying, mens sana in corpore sano, a healthy mind in a healthy body. And a comfortable temperature might just be the key to unlocking both.
And of course, we can't forget about the long-term health implications. Could spending too much time in an overheated or overcooled environment have negative consequences for our health?
It's a question worth exploring. It's like the old debate about whether it's better to be too hot or too cold. Some people swear by bundling up, others say let your body breathe. But maybe the answer isn't so black and white.
Perhaps it's about finding that middle ground, a temperature that keeps us comfortable without putting undue stress on our bodies.
So with all these different perspectives swirling around, where does that leave us in our quest for the best room temperature?
It's clear that there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's a multifaceted issue with scientific, cultural, and even ethical dimensions. But perhaps that's what makes it so fascinating.
It seems like the perfect temperature is less about finding a magic number on the thermostat and more about understanding the complex interplay of factors that make us feel comfortable.
It's like trying to find the perfect balance in a recipe. You have all these different ingredients, personal preference, cultural norms, scientific research, and you need to find the right proportions to create something truly satisfying.
And just like a good recipe, the perfect temperature might need some tweaking depending on the occasion. Maybe you crank up the heat a bit when you're feeling under the weather, or prefer a cooler environment for focused work.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of our needs and adapting our environment accordingly. And that's where those insights from the AIs become really valuable.
Right. So for our listeners out there who are trying to find their own temperature sweet spot, what are some practical takeaways from all this?
Well, first and foremost, pay attention to your body's signals. Are you constantly shivering or do you find yourself sweating even when it's not that warm? Understanding your own thermal preferences is key.
It's like that old saying, listen to your body, it's smarter than you think.
Exactly. Once you have a better grasp of your own needs, you can start making adjustments to your environment. Experiment with different clothing layers, adjust the thermostat, or use fans and space heaters to create microclimates within your space.
It's like becoming your own personal climate control engineer.
And don't be afraid to communicate your needs to others. If you're constantly battling over the thermostat with your family or coworkers, try having an open and honest conversation about everyone's preferences.
It's like those team building exercises where you have to work together to solve a problem. Except in this case, the problem is finding a temperature that everyone can live with.
Exactly. And when it comes to those workplace temperature wars, maybe it's time to embrace a more flexible approach.
Right. Instead of trying to find one temperature that pleases everyone, what if we created designated warm and cool zones within the office? Or allowed for more flexible dress codes so people can adjust their clothing to their comfort level.
Those are great ideas. It's about creating a work environment that supports individual needs while still fostering a sense of community.
And of course, we can't forget about the environmental impact of all this.
Absolutely. Making eco-conscious choices like setting the thermostat a few degrees higher in summer and lower in winter can make a big difference in our energy consumption.
It's like that old adage, take care of the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves. Except in this case, it's more like, take care of the degrees and the kilowatt hours will take care of themselves.
And consider investing in energy-efficient appliances and home improvements like insulation and double-paned windows. These small changes can add up to big savings both for your wallet and the planet.
It's a win-win for everyone.
So the next time you reach for the thermostat, remember that finding the best room temperature isn't just about hitting a magic number. It's about creating an environment that balances personal comfort, energy efficiency, and respect for others.
It's like we've gone from thinking about temperature as a simple setting on a dial to understanding it as a complex and fascinating aspect of our lives.
And perhaps that's the biggest takeaway of all. Our relationship with temperature is constantly evolving, just like the technology and the science behind it.
It makes you wonder what the future holds. Will we one day have those personalized climate control systems that adapt to our every whim?
It's certainly a possibility. But until then, let's embrace the journey and strive for a world where everyone can feel comfortable and at ease in their own little corner of the universe.
Well said. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of room temperature. Thanks for joining us on Bit Talks.
Until next time, stay cool.